Welcome, everybody, to Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe, and I'm here with the co-host,
Gio.
CGO, or George. Today is the 25th of March, 2026. And please, just a quick reminder, please like us, subscribe us on whatever platform you follow. We release long form on YouTube and short form on Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms every single day. Tomorrow, or I guess we're releasing this on the 26th in the morning. So today, there is 10 games of semifinals for World Cup qualifying that we are talking about. There are 6 spots up for grabs in this qualifying round. We have New Caledonia is facing Jamaica, and the winner of that match in a semifinal, the winner of that match will face Congo on Tuesday, and the winner of that will go to the final. We have Bolivia playing Suriname in a semifinal. The winner will face Iraq, and the winner of that game will go to the World Cup. In UEFA, we have 4 different paths. So we have Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, Bosnia Herzegovina, the semifinal tomorrow, final on Tuesday the 31st. We have Ukraine and Sweden, Poland, Albania. Winner goes to the World Cup. We have Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, Kosovo. Winner goes to the World Cup. Denmark, North Macedonia, Czech Republic, Republic of Ireland. Winner goes to the World Cup. George, let's talk one team here that I feel like his legacy is in fact one of the greatest football nations ever. Italy is at very strong risk of missing the World Cup for the third straight time. The last time Italy won a knockout game in the World Cup was the 2006 Zidane headbutt game. George, do you feel like their legacy as a footballing nation is at risk?
Honestly, it is really at risk because the last time they featured in the World Cup was in 2014. And for a team that has won the World Cup for, I think, is it 3 or 4 times? Missing out in the World Cup on 3 times in a row, that's something that should be of great worry to the Italians. I feel it's going to be something they really need to do everything possible at their disposal to make sure they qualify for the World Cup. If you look at the Italian team currently, they don't have those kind of dangerous strikers. They have good defenders, the likes of Alexandro Bastoni. They have good midfielders in Nicolo Barella, but when it comes to striker, I don't know if the Italians can back or the likes of Moise Kean when it comes to scoring. You can't compare the quality of a striker like a Kean to somebody like Balotelli, the likes of Baggio. These are very good strikers that can really produce result for you. I feel the Italians are struggling, especially when it comes to upfront. That's where the deficiency is. That's where they really lack that quality to really take them to the finish line. So I don't know if I'm not too convinced with the quality of strikers they have now, if they can go all the way. I know they
I
have
still
one
think
striker. Go ahead.
I, I mean the team they had a striker who they won the Euro a couple years ago with Ciro Immobile at forward, who has had a really hot parts of his career, really cold parts of his career, but he's pretty good. I mean Balotelli too. I mean he had very hot parts of his career, very cold parts of his career. Had one good tournament from Italy if I remember right. Um, but I feel like this stuff comes and goes in waves. I remember the first couple World Cups I watched, all the talk was about how Spain had all the talent in the world and never won anything, and of course a couple World Cups later they ended up being the best national team of all time for a couple years there, and then they came back and won another Euros last year. So they've been the most successful team in the last 20 years, and I feel like these things are cyclical. When it comes to just when investment in training from clubs at the national level aligns. There's a lot of factors that go into why players develop. Sometimes it's just luck in terms of who's born and when, and at the margins at the high level are just so tight. Italy again has won a Euro, and I feel like over the last 15 years they've been more successful than England, even though England has made more World Cups. So I don't feel like their football legacy is at risk. It is an unfortunate consequence that they um, are are very likely, I'd say more likely than not, to miss their third straight World Cup. But I think they'll come back in flying colors because they just have a good setup and structure for players to grow and develop.
So you think with the kind of team they have now, you think they stand a chance of scaling through this hurdle of the playoffs? Because mind you, they'll be playing Northern Ireland, and then after Northern Ireland, then they will have to play the winner between Wales and Bosnia and Herzegovina. And if you look at Wales, Wales have players who are more, for me, they are much better off than the Italian players, especially when it comes to the midfield and also the attack. That's my own opinion.
Interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see. I mean, in a 90-minute game, Italy players are all, basically all in Serie A or other top five leagues. So, Welsh players are for the most part as well. And you can't, again, I agree with you. Wales has a lot of quality across the pitch, arguably more if you're looking at these players on a piece of paper. But these games are not played on a piece of paper. Italian teams more often than not, are greater than the sum of their parts. I remember that 2006 World Cup. If I'm looking at the French team and the Italian team on paper, I think the French team, man for man, is better than the Italian team. I feel like Italians played very well as a team that tournament. Same with Euro 2021. Compare Italy against the English team they beat. They had, on paper, the English had a lot of players who were better than the Italians, but the Italians did play better together and ended up winning that tournament and were, despite a very early go from England, the better team in that game and probably in that tournament, for me, at least for me watching it. So you're right, though, on individual quality. I feel like Italy on paper, Wales is every bit as good and as talented, and it should be an exciting round. George, let's move on. Do any of these other games excite you? Let's talk about Pot B, George. Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, Albania. Is there a player or a game that you'd prefer to watch here?
We need to let the viewers know that Sweden had a very poor run in the World Cup qualifier because they finished bottom of the table. In fact, they had just two draws and they lost 4 games. This is one of their worst World Cup qualifier in a very long time. They were just fortunate to qualify based on their ranking in the UEFA Nations League. That was for 2024, 2025. So it was based on that. That was why they were able to make up the number because we have 12 groups during the World Cup qualifier. The teams that finished first in the group qualified automatically for the World Cup. Then the teams that finished second were supposed to play the playoffs. So we have 4 more spots. So what happened was that those 4 spots were not given to teams that didn't qualify for the playoffs but finished were highly ranked when it comes to the UEFA Nations League. And those teams were, I think, North Macedonia, Northern Ireland, Romania, and Sweden. So Sweden has not been too good when it comes to the qualifier. And I don't know if they will be able to maybe knock out the Ukrainian in the qualifiers, though the Ukrainians are also having a lot of injury issues. Their captain, Zichenko, is injured. I don't know if he'll be available for this game. And then they have this guy called Artem Dovbyk, who once played very well for Girona, but now plays for AS Roma. I think he's also having some injury issues. So that might be one of the things that might affect Ukraine in this game. And look, this guy called Modric, who plays for Chelsea, is currently under suspension, so he's not going to be available. So that might be the only thing that might give
Hey,
maybe
George, you
Sweden
froze
some
for
hope.
me.
Oh,
All right, so George just had a technical difficulty. We're splicing this together, so it should be seamless for your side. But if you're seeing us skip, that's why. George was talking about the Ukraine versus Sweden game, where Sweden had a rough time in qualifiers, and there's injuries for both sides here. I think Isak there's rumors he might come back Is he in the squad for this, George? Gilcourage obviously has been healthy most of the season and a fully capable striker as well for Sweden. But Isak adds another level of dynamism. Do you know if he's healthy for this, George? Because he's an absolute superstar when he's healthy.
Because I'm not sure if Isaac will be part of this playoffs.
Okay. Well, very good. George, next one, Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, Kosovo. Let me just say that I personally, I really enjoy when Turkey is in these tournaments because I remember, Euro 2008, they were just a very exciting team to watch. Their fans are very passionate. I watched 2 soccer games when I was in Turkey, and both games were just exceptional when it comes to atmosphere, and I just really like what they bring to the table. They in the last Euros, I thought I just really enjoyed watching them for their fans. They brought a lot of passion, and it was just really fun to watch. So I'd like to see them win. I feel like, again, these countries, a lot of times it's cyclical in terms of how their players perform in Europe. I think this is a period of times where Turkish players are less prevalent in top 5 leagues than they might have been 10 or 15 years ago. And so
If you ask me, I think I'll go for Turkey. Turkey is most likely to qualify. Like I told you earlier on, Romania got involved in this playoff because of the way they performed in the UEFA Nations League. So I very skeptical if they have what it takes to knock out Turkey. So for that pathway, will I say that part? I think Turkey will most likely come out of that group, that part. That's what I feel. I don't see the winner of Slovakia or Kosovo um, knocking out Turkey by the time Turkey defeats Romania.
very cool. And George, what about Path D? We have Denmark, North Macedonia, Czech Republic, Republic of Ireland. I tend to look at this and see Denmark as the strongest team. I know that
Yes.
again, I'm biased because a lot of these Brentford players have been Danish, and a lot of the Danish players came through us. We have Norgard, who's been great, who's not started for Arsenal, but I feel like international football, he'll be able to jump in and be a great center mid. He's a great leader on the field. They have some other very good players here that I think that they're probably the strongest team in this group. What are your thoughts, George?
The likes of Rasmus Højlund is there, and they still have the experience of Christian Eriksen in the team. And then they have a defender called Christensen, Andres Christensen, who was a former player of Chelsea and now plays
That
for
goal, I'm looking at their roster right now. I did not realize that Newcastle goal was fantastic the other week. Scored by William Osula, who plays for the Denmark
the
national
Danish
team.
team.
That goal was absolutely fantastic that he scored a couple weeks ago. And of course, they have the Chelsea keeper and Kasper Schmeichel are both on the are able to be called up. Kasper Schmeichel is probably past his best, but still some names that people have heard of on this team. So very exciting.
So I think for that part, I think Denmark is most likely to come out of that part. But I wanted to ask you, we haven't talked about the part A, where we have Italy playing Northern Ireland, Wales, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Who do you think is most likely to come out from that part A?
I still think it's Italy. I just think they have such a heritage as a football nation and so many more footballers to come from. And like I said, George, usually Italian teams are more than the sum of their parts. And I agree with you that they don't have amazing forwards compared to a lot of the other teams in this bracket and this group. But I still think they're a better team and should come out. But I will qualify every prediction I have with this is why they play the games, and Wales is 20 professionals and a very strong team as well.
Well, for me, I think I'll go for Wales. Most likely, Wales most likely come out from that group as the team that will qualify from Part A. And then for
Yeah.
Part B, which team do you predict will scale through? For me, I will go with Wales, Holland, Turkey, Denmark. So that means we only disagree on just one, the Part
Yes.
A.
Path B, Path C, Path D. Do you feel like it impacts the Italians' national team legacy if they were to miss their third straight World Cup? Um, and which of these teams does any of these teams have a chance of winning the World Cup? I feel like there is a lot of talent here. The World Cup is very open given the format and the extra teams. Thank you for listening.